Castellanos in the air to right center field. Harris at the track. He leaps and he makes the catch. Harper might be doubled up. The throw gets away. The throw to first. It's over. It's over. Harper never tagged. He couldn't get back. And it's a double up to end game 2. Wow.
Foster and Friends is brought to you by Envision in Christiansburg and Salem, Virginia. Discover what sets us apart for all your eye care needs. Once again, here's the coach, Bud Foster, and his co-host, Mac McDonald.
Welcome in, NSB Radio Network and Foster and Friends. And Bud, I know since you're slipping into our side of the fence, from sideline to now getting in the booth and, trying to, now behind a microphone. And, you even have your first microphone in your office for this show, which.
Oh, yeah.
But Michael Dixon's our guest from awfulannouncing.com and thecomeback.com, two really terrific websites. And I wrote Michael and I said, I just want to talk to you, with Awful Announcing, especially. It's a great website and, keeps me and a lot of us on our toes regarding what's going on in the media. I mean, we can go everywhere in the world and learn about this coach and that coach and this press conference, but Awful Announcing, it really takes you down a wonderful path. So Michael, welcome. And we are going to make, and it's not always Awful Announcing. So it's not
exactly.
a website. So I want to make that clear. Welcome, Michael. Good to talk to you.
Thank you. And that was the first thing I was going to say is we, even though kind of what sort of inspired you to reach out to me was something I had written about Gary Danielson, and kind of I wouldn't just kind of an announcer flub he had during the Alabama game. We do not only cover Awful Announcing. We cover, first of all, we cover all sports media. So we're not always covering announcing in any way. We cover good announcing, bad announcing, announcers retiring, announcers when they unfortunately pass away, when some team makes a decision about, we're going to hire this guy as our new play-by-play or color guy, or the most recently, the Kevin Brown Orioles story we wrote extensively about. I can't say we broke that story, but we sort of followed the crumbs that had been talked about on the Orioles message boards. And I say this does not include me at all. I was not a part of this, so I'm not trying to take anyone's credit there, but except for the fact that I do work for the site. So yeah, we kind of put that story on the bigger map, I guess you'd say. We cover all kinds of announcing, and thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
No, it's great to talk to you. So Bud, Bud said something before during the break. He said, "I hope I never show up on Awful Announcing." Bud is a novice, but Bud's very good, Michael. He's really, really good.
Yeah, I am a novice at this, but as I looked at your site, it's really kind of like you said, it's kind of a misnomer. It was a lot of interesting things about what goes on in announcing as I follow and read into some of the articles and things of that nature. But really, it's going to be something that to be honest with you, being on the sidelines for 40 years, I didn't spend a lot of time, looking at things. I was more into recruiting sites and, find my next prospect and those type of things. But no, it's a wealth of information and it'd be good, like you said, good, bad, indifferent. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and a lot of the, I won't say all of this because there's obviously, unfortunately, we had to write about everyone had to write about the Glenn Kuiper situation earlier this month when he used inadvertently, I believe, but he used the N-word on the air, and that ended up getting him fired. But so we do write about some heavier stuff like that. But for the most part, even if we're writing about a bad announcing moment, it's usually a little bit more lighthearted in nature. And so that kind of thing is just I think it was actually also the A's, like they're after the Kuiper thing, the guy that they brought in to replace him, thought that one of the players in the A's made a leaping catch up against the wall, and it was the ball was a home run by several feet. And so it's like that stuff is, I mean, there's obviously a little bit more, that's more good natured, even though it's more of an announcer flub that we're kind of having fun with. But yeah, so for the most part, I wouldn't worry too much about showing up on awful announcing unless you do something really bad.
Yeah,
and then you really have to worry.
I've got a good mentor here, so I don't. Yeah, that'd be good. I'd blame it on Mac.
That's
good
true.
policy in life, right?
No, it's really been fun, and we will in a couple of months be finishing our first year of doing this, Michael. So anyway, we had a lot of fun. Well, listen, some of the things that, again, the moments of, and the Gary Danielson thing, for example, was very astute by you guys, because during a critical call and play in the end zone with description, when an announcer talks over, the play, it's easy to, point fingers, and the announcers, being an announcer for so long, the announcers will say, well, look, I'm live. And these guys, these writers have chance to dissect things for a week before they say anything. And we're live, we're on the front page. But I think the awful announcing side and what you guys do so well is a true compliment is you go inside the business. There's a lot of like diving into ESPN and the layoffs and the Disney thing and like the Spectrum Disney thing. I mean, there's just a lot of really a wealth of information from the electronic media side.
Yeah, it's an ever-changing world, and it's going to continue to be ever-changing. Obviously, it's with the as we get more and more into. I mean, we've seen it for the last several years with games being broadcast exclusively on streaming networks, on Peacock. I think for the last 3 years, Notre Dame is one of Notre Dame's NBC games has been on Peacock exclusively. Not usually not one of their better games, but one Notre Dame game has been. I believe Purdue has been on. Purdue has been on Peacock for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and they're going to be again when they play Ohio State. It's a very changing world with both the network stuff, and then there's also kind of how games are brought to us and how much that is changing over the years. So I'm really kind of looking forward to seeing how. I believe Rob Manfred talked about fairly recently that figuring out a way to make a better blackout policy for Major League Baseball for MLB TV. Mm-hmm. That's I'm really interested to see how that develops, because that's one area where there's a lot of markets that really get the short end of the stick on that, like Iowa and Vegas is really bad. It probably won't be anymore once the A's go there, but Vegas currently, like all 5 California teams and Arizona are blacked out in Vegas. You can't watch them on MLB TV. I'm just really kind of looking forward to seeing how that changes, and either personally reporting on it or having one of my many great coworkers reporting on it. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that changes.
Yeah, but how did when you were on the sidelines, again, you said you were on recruiting sites and not really the electronic media sites and stuff. How much did you see the media change in your career?
Obviously a tremendous amount, particularly, well, even just talk about recruiting. I mean, just what the information that you're getting and what people are doing, to do the background checks and do all those kind of things to be able to put, recruiting out there, so to speak. It was Tom Lemming was kind of the first guy years and years ago that really kind of got this thing started. And then all of a sudden now you're up to 3-on-3 or whatever that new site is, where they're also evaluating players, NIL projections and things of that nature. So just like any form of media, I think recruiting, has blown up as much as anything, because it is something that people are extremely interested in. And just from coverage of college athletics, how that's expanded to just the ins and outs of college athletics. You can find out a lot of details about a lot of things by, if you have the time and patience to, kind of browse and look around, because somebody's going to post something out there.
Yeah, good point.
And there's various sites within, Virginia Tech. It started out, we were talking about like Tech Sideline was the initial media online, or, fan page, or however you want to call it. And now you got Sons of Saturday, you got Key Play, you've got so many different other ones that are, putting out information, so it's just interesting to see how it has changed. And it's like, like Michael said, we're probably just even in the forefront of it as this streaming takes off and more games are going to be put out there, and just more and more people are going to be made aware of, different availabilities and things.
How did you get started in this?
Okay, well, I've been in journalism pretty much ever since I got out of college. I actually started working doing some stringing for my local paper, what was then my local paper, covering sports. After, when I was in my early 20s, I came across, I'm originally from the California Bay Area. And so to give people a sense of where I'm from, to the extent that this matters, I'm like 10 or 11 years older than he is, but I went to the same high school that Joe Mixon, the Cincinnati Bengals running back, went to. So I covered him when he was in high school. And yeah, so I got into that. And then a couple of years later, I started working for Bleacher Report. I was there for close to a year, writing stuff for them. And I've sort of been kind of bouncing back and forth between sort of the conventional newspaper business and websites. And I've done different. I don't think the site exists anymore, or if it does, it's under a different name. But I did a fantasy baseball site with a few friends, and we actually turned that into a pretty good site, a pretty reputable site for a few years. A little less than 2 years ago, I started working for the Comeback and Awful Announcing. It was either like the last day of January or the first day of February in 2022. So just about 2 years now. And yeah, so it was I just kind of was sort of looking to get back into it. Again, I had just left my job in Arizona at a newspaper there, and I was kind of looking to get back into more of the mainstream sports, or the non-high school, not small colleges, not high school, but kind of mainstream sports coverage. And around that time, that the Comeback Network, which is was looking to expand, and the Comeback was looking to start producing a lot more content. So it was a pretty good time. It was pretty fortuitous timing there. And so I got in there and I started working on some Awful Announcing stuff, and I started working on predominantly the Comeback. And yeah, I've been there for 18 months. Well, I'm not that good at math, but for roughly 2 years, just about 2 years.
We're going to get into some of the programming. Michael Dixon is with us. He is the lead editor for the Comeback and also for awfulannouncing.com. Two really fun websites to go to, and we'll talk about some of that fun when we come back. It's Bud Foster and Foster and Friends and the NSB Radio Network. We'll return right after this.
Hi, this is Bud Foster, co-host of Foster and Friends and former Virginia Tech football coach. When I brought the famed lunch pail to our team, it symbolized teamwork. The word win stood for what's important now. The Lunch Pail Defense Foundation realizes the importance of helping others. Our foundation is a nonprofit corporation that helps fund academic scholarship for eligible high school students from the New River Valley and Roanoke Valley areas. Since 2009, the Lunch Pail Defense Foundation has raised nearly $400,000 and awarded over 40 individual scholarships. We also support an organ transplant program in conjunction with Duke University Medical Center. For information regarding corporate sponsorship or becoming an individual supporter, log on to our site at lunchpaildefense.com. It's always been important to win, especially when we're helping others.